Another technique that we will look at is moving from one chord to the next. There are different ways to do that. For example, in most songs, remember we said we have a 1 chord to the 4 chord, or in this case it would be C to F. You can see where we're having to skip a few notes to move back and forth. Another way to do that is, after you play your C chord, is to move your first finger and ring finger to the next note higher, and that's another version of F. Your thumb is going to stay on the C note, and the reason that works is because when you play F in this position, your C note is up here where your ring finger is. So all we're doing is moving that C note down to here and keeping it where it was for the C chord. So it's still a F chord. So now we can go C, F, back and forth with very little movement. And this also makes it easier for you to change chords and not look at your hands if you're singing or doing something else. You can also move from C to G instead of making this big jump. You kind of reverse the process. Now you're going to move your thumb and your first finger down a note. Your ring finger stays where it is. So there's another way to play G. So now you can access your 1, 4, and 5 chords with very little movement. Now let's look at the 6th chord. In this case it's going to be A minor. You only have to move one finger. We're going to move the G note with the ring finger one note higher to A. So there's A minor. So I can go C, F, A minor, G. So I can do any of those 4 chords in any order with a minimum amount of movement. So you want to practice doing that with your C chord and also starting from your G chord. Now the G is going to be a little bit different because in the key of G we have a D chord. And the D chord is one chord that has a black key in it. So if we go from G to C, which would be our 1 to 4 movement, again we move the first finger and the third finger up a note. If I want to go to the 6th chord, which is E minor, again I just move the ring finger from D to E. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. When I want to go from G to D, I have to move these 2 fingers lower, but the thumb is going to move to a black key. That movement might take a little bit more practice to get used to. But again, we're just going to work on those 2 keys, the key of C and the key of G, and then we'll be able to use our transpose button to change keys if we need to.